be here any minute now. So talk amongst yourselves and listen to the beautiful music. Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ann Pearl. I'm your worship associate today. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1 in your gray hymnal. Easy to find, right? And it is called May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
Good morning. I'm Susie Duga. I'm the secretary of the Sorry, I can't talk with my glasses off. I'm starting over. Welcome to the the Board of Trustees. I'm sorry. Why am I doing this? Okay, I'm reading the wrong thing. Good morning. Let me start over. My name is Susie Duga, and I am the secretary of the Unitarian Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you've been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. I have a few announcements. The Board of Trustees decided at its last meeting last Wednesday to extend a huge thanks to Hospitality Team 4, which is my team, for the coffee hours that they hosted in January. We did miss a bit because of the snow. Save the date for Sunday, March 1st, 2 weeks from today, to stay after the service for a special workshop led by The Loft from 11:30 to 12:30. This workshop will focus on ways to be a better ally for the LGBTQIA+ community and supports the congregation's unanimous vote to renew our welcoming congregation status. Help defend our democracy and the right to vote. Call your New York senators this week to demand they vote no on the latest SAVE Act. Pick up a flyer at the social justice table or see Jenny Stillman during the coffee hour today. That's Jenny. And I'm adding one more. We have our 55th annual A&W art show is coming up. We have flyers if you'd like to submit your work. We have flyers for how to do so upstairs on the table. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. And please join us for conversation after the service. If you're present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. If you're watching the live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you're just recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uukroton@gmail.com with your name, and we will make sure you are added to our email list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phones at this time. Once again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley.
Our guest preacher today is Benjamin Van Dyne. Benjamin works as a union organizer for the Faculty Union of Connecticut State University. He studied theology and social ethics at Union Theological Seminary and Fordham University, where his work focused on the interconnections between evolving concepts of race, personhood, and death. He also taught undergraduate classes in religion and theology and served on the coordinating committee for the labor union of Fordham's graduate workers. Prior to studying theology, Benjamin worked as a community organizer in Indiana, Kentucky, Virginia, New York City, and Long Island. He grew up in the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington, Virginia, and serves as a frequent guest preacher at congregations of many denominations, and here too, as you know. He lives in the Bronx with his 2 children. Please welcome Benjamin Van Dyne.
Can you all hear me? Great. Well, good morning. The first thing I'll say is sorry I'm running late. The inexorable realities are death taxes and somebody occasionally slightly rear-ending you while they're on their phone. But everything is fine, and it does make me extra grateful for a couple of things. First of all, that I did in fact make it here to be with all of you, and also that it was definitely the other guy's fault. So our invocation this morning are words from Samantha Lynn Wilson. A call to worship is secretly a call to focus our attention. Daily we are called to worship at the altar of many devices that we let take lead over our every waking moment. We are called by things set purely on our activation and by tools that gamify every human connection. We are not called, we are led. We are not led, we are trapped. Instead, here we practice being called. Called to bring our attention to the altar of unpredictable human relatedness. We are called by these ancestors, this wood, this room's particular light, this chalice's particular fire. We are called to focus all our attention on a foolhardy and open-ended commitment to share a future together that we cannot cancel and cannot control. Call our attention, Spirit of Life, to this precise moment, the threshold between then and now, the moment upon which we hang our honest promises like portraits, chiseled and framed by our own hands, imperfectly and together. I'd like to invite Kyla and the children to come ring our bell. Every time I'm here, I try to count 8 times, and I never seem to count it right, but we're going to try to hear all 8 times. Wait, we got one more, we got one more.
Our chalice lighting today is by Anne Frank. I can feel the suffering of millions, and yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think that it will all come right, that this cruelty too will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again. In the meantime, I must uphold my ideals, for perhaps the time will come when I shall be able to carry them out. Please join me now in our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice.
Well, the children thought they were off the hook after ringing that bell somewhere between 6 and 10 times. But in fact, I'd like to invite them forward here to this row here, with or without a parent, if that's helpful. Because this morning, we are making something together. You can have a seat. You don't need to get like right up here. This morning, we are making something together. We are making paper airplanes. But there is a catch, because there is always a catch. Before we make the paper airplanes, you all have to make a choice. There are 5 steps in making this paper airplane, and I will show you the 5 steps in just a minute. And we can split up the 5 steps and have each of you make one step of the airplane over and over and over again. So you'll fold in half, and then you'll fold in half, and then you'll fold in half. Or you can each make your own airplane. Those are your 2 choices. Each of you makes your own, or you each only do one step, and then you have a group of airplanes that you've made together. You have to choose as a group which you want to do. So I'm going to take what's called a straw poll. Do you know what a straw poll is? It's not the real vote. It's just a vote to sort of see how everybody's thinking. All right? We'll take the real vote in a minute. But before you talk about it, who thinks you would probably want to do just one step? Interesting. Who would want to each make your own? All right. So, can I ask you, why do you want to make your own? All right, so it would require some figuring out. Yeah, so we'd have to figure out who's doing which step, and also like how many people are doing each step, but also like which step are you doing? Which step are you doing? Yeah, there's some logistics to it for sure. What about you? What are your reasons? You want to do it very quickly. Okay. You don't trust the efficiency of your plans. I get it. What about you? What are y'all's reasons? Same as him. Okay, what about you?
I'm thinking like kind of an assembly line.
An assembly line, but that would be the first thing, right? Which you did not vote for. Have you changed your mind?
I was kind of in the middle.
You were kind of in the middle. Okay. You see some pros and cons? Okay, fair enough, fair enough. What about you? A lot quicker to do by yourself. Okay.
Would it be like well made if we all, because if we all did it together, it'd be skill combined.
Or it would be skill divided, right? Like, what if the first person folds it in half wrong? Like, what if
And then the whole thing, no, but then,
step one, I'll just show you right now. Step one is this. What if you ended up with 8 different airplanes and the first person actually did this?
that's why there are assembly lines, because the next person could say, oh, you made a mistake.
Yeah, but then you're stuck with 8 of these. All right, so hold on. What's your reason? You just want to do it yourself. That would probably be my reason. Yeah. And what about you? Why do you want to make a paper airplane? You like playing on airplanes? I love playing on airplanes too. That's the best reason. I think that's the best reason. Sorry guys, that's the best reason. All right, so you're all gonna make your own paper airplanes. Here's another thing you can do if you're making your own. You can choose your color, and then you can either follow my directions, or you can do it however you want if you know a better way. So everybody take a sheet of paper, and just pass them all down here. Choose your colors. And then once you've got one, you set the extras on the floor or something. Once you're done, just sort of wave around your piece of paper once you've chosen it. And there's one final very important thing I'm going to say before we make them, which is we're going to throw them not in here. I trusted myself to throw it this way, and even I almost hit somebody in the eyes. So we're gonna take them out there to throw. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
All right. So step one, lengthwise fold, like this. There you go. If there's somebody next to you that needs some help, there you go. Yeah, just give them a little bit of help there. I'm gonna borrow your piano for a second. All right, step two, fold down these corners toward the middle, like this. You know this one? All right. And once you got that done, you can hold it up here. We've got some people who are already moving on to the next step because they know how this goes. All right, fold it again, this edge toward the middle. So it'll look like that. You'll do the same thing on the other side. And if yours doesn't look like mine, that's okay. I'm not very good at this. And then you'll fold it down to make some wings. And here's the thing. Whether it looks like this or it looks like something else, whether it flies or it doesn't fly, whether you choose to fly it or just choose to kind of let it drop, this airplane is yours, and you can do anything you want with it. And whether it succeeds or it fails or it looks like you want it to or not, this is something that you made with your hands and didn't just get handed one fold of by somebody else. It's your color, it's your work, it's your airplane. So once you've got something that you're reasonably happy with, hold it up so everybody can see. Oh, we got some little wing folds there, okay. All right. That'll definitely go right for the eyes. Oh, that's beautiful, yes, okay. And the front too, great. There's a little extra weight there, great. All right, So as we sing these kids out, you're going to take your airplanes with you. You are going to throw them where? Not in here. All right, are we ready? Ready to sing? Ready to fly? No? No? We'll give it 10 more seconds while our musician vamps a little bit, I guess. Oh, now I'm
We come together in community. Oh, sorry. There we go. We come together in community to share with one another, to support one another, and to celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored ritual. As we begin, we know that there are both great sorrows and great joys in our world that must be acknowledged as well. We light our first candle to honor those in pain, victims of violence and war and oppression all around our world. We light a second candle because we understand that amidst all of that pain, there is also celebration and joy in our world. We honor that joy and sorrow are woven together. For some of us here today, this has been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be lifted up in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make the burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to come forward. I will light a candle for you, and you will briefly tell us of your joy or sorrow. You may also raise your hand in silent acknowledgement of your joys and sorrows, and I will light a candle for you. Please remember that our joys, your joys and sorrows, are being shared on the live stream and the broader virtual community.
Good morning.
Please speak into the microphone.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I'm very happy to be here this morning. It's been a week from hell. My daughter got evicted from her apartment. It was something that was hanging in the air for a while. She was, I don't want to go into the details of it, but I was advised by a member of the congregation, Jenny Stillman, to bring this to the joys and sorrows. I have inherited a cat, and I'm the owner of birds. So it presents a conundrum. I'm trying to help my daughter out with the cat. I know she doesn't want to give up the cat. So if there are any children here who would just love to have a parakeet, I happen to have two.
Oh.
And so now the cat is out of the bag. And I still have a sense of humor. And I'm so grateful to be here and to see all of your caring faces. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Salma Chowdhury Muro. This morning, I just wanted to say and invite others to celebrate with me the amazing, beautiful joy of Bad Bunny and his exuberant celebration of what it means to be American.
Hi, I'm Pat Krugman. I'd like to light 2 candles of joy. The first one is last Sunday, I joined the table talk in Fellowship Hall after the service. It was wonderful. I invite each of you when it's there, please come over. Our question of the day was, who would you invite to a lunch or dinner, living or dead, and what would you serve? Fascinating answers. I think all of us should invite all the people we wanted and have a nice luncheon out in Fellowship Hall one day. Fabulous. Also, yesterday, for the first time since I demonstrated George Floyd's murder, I was on the streets of Croton on Hudson with my No Kings crown, and it felt fantastic. I was no longer afraid. I've been very afraid to go out, so I think things might be turning a corner.
I have a few things. Monica, first is not a candle. If you're a green Subaru Crosstrek in the upper lot, I'm blocking you in. I'm sorry.
That's just me, it's okay.
Oh, perfect. I'm due tomorrow. I don't think he's going to come tomorrow, but send vibes of good labor and delivery. My dog ended up needing 2 surgeries in January. She is recovering well. She hates the activity restriction, but it is what it is. And in January, non-management staff at my job successfully voted 4-1 to unionize.
Yay!
Hi, I'm Sonia. I have a sorrow that turned into a joy. Just about a month ago, my father, who is going to be 93 tomorrow, had a stroke. And as I drove to the hospital, I thought that maybe it was time for me to say goodbye. Turns out he survived a thrombectomy, and he went through, time in the hospital, rehab, and he came home about a week ago and is living on his own again by his choice, doing really well, and we're gathering today as an extended family to celebrate his 93rd birthday, so I'm very joyful.
Wonderful. Okay.
Hi, my name is Sherry. I was able to spend all of last week in Massachusetts supporting my daughter and my 18-month-old grandson. And the joy, that was a joy, of course, but the biggest joy was witnessing again for the first time, because I have 3 girls, much older, a less than 3-foot tall person navigating the snow on sidewalks. He had to walk. He had to walk and swipe the snow. You do know how long it takes to go anywhere? It was such a joy.
Welcome to my world.
It's hard to go after that. Okay. Anyway, I have a joy for my auction winnings. I got a beautiful quilt made by Nora. Isn't this gorgeous for my grandnephew? So I am so happy. Thank you, Nora.
I'm running out of candles, so I'm not, I have a joy. I'm going to virtually light it because I need a couple more candles for the end here. My youngest grandson, Leo, is turning 1 on Saturday, so I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Where are we? So one more candle. We light one final candle for all those joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside of our walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and be received with love.
I invite you now to enter into a spirit of meditation, prayer, Planting yourself in your seat in a way that neither lets you go to sleep nor is super uncomfortable. Make sure you're settled in. Make sure your microphone is turned on. How about that? No? I might just have to hold it down.
It's on.
It's not staying on.
Put it on the seat.
No?
No. All right, I will just hold this down while we. No?
Yeah.
We're going to pray lounge singer style this morning. Good morning again. So now, let's enter into a spirit of meditation and prayer. Find a good seat. Plant your feet somehow. Start to pay attention to which parts of your body are already relaxed and which are holding some tension. Take a breath or two. Close your eyes if it helps you be in your own body. And let's take a minute to remember something deeper than ordinary memories, than images or sounds or smells of ordinary experience, but deep into our shared history. To the beginnings of life, to ancient sages and prophets, ancient violence that we still are heirs to. Observe it all as though it were unfolding before you. And come land, after all of that, resting in this place, in this seat, with these people. Because all of that is what brought you here. And now that we have moved from remembering all of that to this moment, take a moment silently to yourself to ask for what you need. And now just take a minute to trust that what you need, even when it's different from the thing you are asking for, is something that is possible, is something achievable, and is something that is, I promise you, on the way. take a few more minutes, a few more moments of silence before we continue to meditate with some music.
Our reading today is from Notes on James Mill by Karl Marx. Let us suppose that we had carried out work as human beings. Each of us would have, in two ways, affirmed ourselves. In my production, I would have made my individuality, its specific character, into an object that I can see and touch in the world. And therefore, I would have enjoyed not only an individual manifestation of my life during the work, but also, when looking at the object, I would have the individual pleasure of knowing my personality to be visible to the senses, and hence, a power beyond all doubt. Please now rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 126 in your gray hymnal, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
Making Anne read marks for the reading feels like a prank of some kind.
I was wondering about that.
But I promise you we will get to it. I saw a comedian a few weeks ago, I was scrolling Instagram or something, I saw a comedian make a joke in which he said that now that he was in his 40s, it was time for him to take up woodworking. This joke would have been funnier, or maybe it was funnier, because as a man in my 40s, I have recently taken up woodworking. I rented a little space a few minutes from my kids' school, and I build little pieces of furniture, which I occasionally sell, but mostly I give away because what I really wanted to do was make it. So the question is, why? What about something like that, which used to be, like a job, became something that a person does for fun? And of course, it's not just woodworking. Since when is cooking a hobby? or growing food, or sewing? It's a beautiful quilt, but who brought up the quilt? It's a beautiful quilt, but that didn't used to be a thing people did for fun. They did it to stay warm. What happened? They used to be for survival. It used to be a profession, and now I come home from my job and think to myself, you know what would be fun to do is this thing that used to be a job. Well, it turns out this question actually has a pretty specific historical answer. Of course, there have always been leisure activities and play, and people have always noodled around. But the hobby, in the sense that we know it now, becomes a thing in the English-speaking world essentially between about 1870 and 1910. In his book, No Space of Grace, the historian T.J. Jackson Lears offers an accounting of why it is in this time period, roughly the Victorian era, that we see a renewal of all kinds of traditionalism. Of handmade crafts, yes, but also it's when church architecture and liturgy begins to look more medieval. When you look at American religious spaces, this is the time when they start to build things like the Cathedral of St. John the Divine or the National Cathedral. There is a movement toward medieval forms of architecture, pre-industrial ways of thinking. It's the time when sexual mores attain the rigidity we associate with the Victorian era. And it's the time when the Anglo-American world invents for itself hobbies. For Lears, these are all rooted in a rapid transformation toward industry, and in particular toward industrial specialization. You know specialization. I don't build the whole car. I just turn that one screw on that one part all day long. Somebody else turns the next screw. Somebody else casts the iron. Somebody else does each part or each step of the assembly. It's a very different style of working from when you make the whole thing yourself. The last piece of furniture I made was a California mission-style bench out of red oak for my sister. Its legs are splayed at 7 degrees. Its length is sized for Emily's apartment. Red oak, I know, is a very stringy wood, and this piece of it was very stringy even for red oak. Its grain tends to tear out if you don't take your time, especially on end grain. At every stage, from sawmill to presenting it to my sister, I know this piece of furniture in a way that is quite intimate. The closest analogy I can think of is that for 2.5 years or so, between birth and toilet training, I knew my children's bodies better than I knew my own. Every mole, every little scrape was something I paid attention to and could have told you about. A year from now, or 5 years from now, You could probably show me that California mission-style bench, point out some flaw or idiosyncrasy, and I would say, yes, I remember that. And I would tell you a story. If my job had been to cut the 7-degree angle on the leg over and over and over again, would I know it in the same way? Probably not. This stool, which I grabbed out of my apartment this morning, is the very first piece of furniture I ever made. I love a good prop. I make all my furniture by hand, even though it's less efficient. No, that's actually not right. I make it by hand because it is less efficient. Because what I lose in efficiency, I more than make up for in the sense that this is the work of my hands. It is, in some sense, me, manifest in the world. That's what Karl Marx is talking about in our reading from this morning. He says that when we make something, it's like a mirror in the world that shows who we are. It's something about the interior of my life that otherwise you can't see, that you can see because I made it with my own hands. That's pretty amazing. For me, this is one of the most unexpected things about actually reading Marx or making Anne read Marx. As opposed to hearing other accounts of what Marx says, because I've never, quite unexpectedly, heard anyone who has more respect for work than Karl Marx does. The basic problem isn't just overwork. Everyone has worked hard. Since ancient days, people have busted their butts to live. It's that something happens in the industrial era and in ours that takes away from work something that is essentially human. And what is happening in that time period from the late 19th century to the early 20th century is that that experience of seeing ourselves made manifest in the world, that process of objectification of human beings being reflected in the objects we make, is being lost. You may have heard of the term alienation. This is what alienation is. We're no longer connected to the things we make in the same way. How am I supposed to give a damn about turning that screw over and over and over again? I feel more distant from the end product and from the process of making it. And I am more distant from that product and from the process of making it. Because all these other processes, all these other people are in the way. I could turn that screw over and over again and maybe not even know whether I'm making a table or a radiator or a rocket engine. In religious terms, we're losing a kind of interdependence with the world. I'm sorry, I just don't feel the same way about this that I do about my IKEA furniture. Now, of course, there are reasons why that industrial way is more efficient, and there are reasons, certainly, why the factory owner likes it. But for us as makers of things, it removes something that used to be true at work. This being made manifest in the world. So when Marx writes, "Let us suppose that we had carried out our work as human beings," he's speculating. He's engaging in a kind of imaginative exercise about what humanizing work would look like. Let us suppose, he says, that we had carried out our work as human beings. He's forced to speculate because in the actually existing situation, we are alienated from this kind of humanizing work. So the hobby is about being able to go back, to find an experience of disalienated work, even if that's no longer where sustenance comes from. Okay, you say, but I don't turn screws for a living. I'm a professional. Well, for me, I think a lot about academic labor. As a PhD student, I was an instructor of theology and religious studies, and now as a union organizer, I work with academics, with their labor union. And a few years ago, when graduate instructors were on strike at the University of Michigan, they were still on strike when the time came to submit spring grades. So what the University of Michigan administration did was they had non-instructors, often people without any familiarity with the discipline, file the grades for students who in many cases had not been in class for weeks. These grades were not linked to any work that students had done, was not accompanied by any feedback on their work, and had no context for a syllabus or an approach or a discipline that was imagined when the course was designed. So in this case, it is clear, even in a non-industrial setting, what the University of Michigan ultimately intended to produce. The product they thought was indispensable to that scholarly factory they run, which is the credential, the grade, the certification of something. Now, of course, the credential is allegedly linked to other things, right? Like, if I pass Spanish 201, I'm supposed to be able to say una palabra o dos en español, but in a crunch, what they thought they were doing was producing that stamp. You've earned a B. So in one sense, what's really scandalous about that is the obvious scandal. These students had not done that work. They hadn't earned that grade. The dishonesty of it is scandalizing. But there's also a more interesting scandal. Because by issuing grades in this way, totally disconnected from the work of the course, administrators at the University of Michigan were actually, for once, quite transparent about what they actually are up to. The scandal isn't that they were dishonest, it's that for once they told the truth. They don't care if people learn. It was as though they were in a class on hand tool woodworking. And when times got tough, they just ran it through the electric saw. Yes, you'll make your stool, but you've missed the point. It's as though they were just handed a basket of paper airplanes. There was an art project I read about once, and God, I really tried to find it for today, and I couldn't find it, but the piece of art was called The Mass Machine. It was by a Spanish artist. And it's a machine that says Mass. That is, it conducts the prayers. So if you need to pray for the dead to intervene on your behalf, don't worry, we've found a more efficient way to do that. The Mass machine says Mass, but it has also completely missed the point. Or I think about the streets of Minneapolis, where policy, which is about how we live together at an industrial scale, was replaced by actual neighborliness, at least for a moment. Never mind policy, they said. These are my neighbors. Never mind credentials or grades. I'm a teacher. Never mind the efficiency of shaping a piece of furniture. I want to know this stool like I know my child. So what all these things have in common, the reason I made you read Marx, is because what they share is this experience of disalienation, of no longer being forced to be distant from the things around us that are humanizing. And I think there are all kinds of ways to experiment with it. You don't have to take up woodworking. You don't have to learn to knit, though you can if you want to. But you can try every once in a while some brave, disciplined inattention. To decide and then to stick to a decision, at least for a particular conversation or moment or task, simply not to care about the things trying to draw you away from it, to make it more efficient, to make it more scalable. That can be uncomfortable. That's why it requires bravery. It is easier said than done, which is why it requires some discipline. But it can and does happen in the wood shop, or in a teacher's conversation with a student, or in your conversation with a neighbor, where we might simply refuse the question of efficiency, or credentials, or policy. Maybe it happens in one-on-one conversations with each other, where we press to hear what work we really came here to do. And then, when inevitably we lapse into all the reasons that it wouldn't work, or that it wouldn't work at scale, to say, that is a different conversation. An important one, maybe. But what would it look like to do the work you came here to do? Marx writes of the ways that human work can be a humanizing process, how it can draw us closer to ourselves, to other human beings, and to the world we inhabit. And amid all the doom and gloom from every direction, I wonder if that question can help orient us to what emergence from the crisis would look like. What are we here to do? The question of disalienation, of decreasing the distance between our own hands and our own senses and the things we make in the world, whether they are tangible things or not. It's not only a matter of working conditions in a sort of narrow sense. It's a question of what work we think is humanizing when we do it, and when we help other people to do it. Is it a particular relationship with a text, or a circumstance, or a community, or with the earth, or with a God? We can't work that out in advance. But we can only hope to work it out at all if we wedge open some moments of disalienation wherein we might discover it. The spaces where we meet the work of each other's hands. The spaces where we meet each other as human beings. The spaces of interconnection and of grace. May it be so. Amen. And now please rise as you are able for hymn 131 in your gray hymnal. Love will guide us.
Each week we make an offering from the bounty that we are blessed to enjoy. We do this in the spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those who in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with the Emergency Shelter Partnership. Please refer to the e-news or your e-newsletter for more information. Also our website. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check in the offering plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter or by visiting our website, UUHudsonValley.org. Or if you prefer, you can always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Unity of faith. Please join me now in extinguishing the chalice. The words once again are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Friends, there is some work out there that puts you into the world in a touchable, seeable, hearable, tasteable, smellable, sensible way. Find it, do it. Go in peace.